Tess, Chapter 30. The D'Uberville's house. Angel telling Tess about the house. I never passed one of their residencies without thinking of them. There is something very sad in the extinction of a family of renown, even if it was fierce, domineering, feudal renown. Later, when Tess was going to tell him the truth about her past, she decided to instead tell him that she is a descendant of the D'Ubervilles. Tess tries to make other people happy. She worries that Angel will no longer love her once he knows about her past. He clasped her close and kissed her. Yes, she had no sooner said it than she burst into a dry, hard sobbing, so violent that it seemed to render her. "Why do you cry, my dearest?" "I can't tell quite. I am so glad to think of being yours and making you happy. But it does not seem very much like gladness, my Tessie. I mean, I cry because I have broken down in my vow. I said I would die unmarried." Angel and Tess cover themselves using the same cloth, and her hair, which the pressure of the cow's flanks had, as usual, caused to tumble down from its fastenings and stray beyond the curtain of her calico bonnet, was made clammy because of the moisture, till it hardly was better than seaweed. Due to the rain, Tess mentions her doubts over whether or not she ought to have come. Meanwhile, Angel takes advantage of the situation, using it to close the physical gap between he and Tess. I chose this quote because Tess is alone with Angel in the silence. Sometimes when you feel close to another person, you don't need to talk to feel comfortable. The lane they followed was so solitary that the hazelnuts had remained in the boughs till they had slipped from their shells, and the blackberries hung in heavy clusters. Every now and then Angel would fling the lash of his whip round one of these, pluck it off, and give it to his companion. Angel takes pride in his assumption that Tess is pure. If he would only listen to her, he might know otherwise. Angel is clueless regarding Tess's lack of purity. His obliviousness to this allows him to rejoice. Angel assumes that Tess is pure. He calls her names such as dearest, my Tessie, and dear child. Angel's obliviousness regarding the real reason why Tess feels unworthy of his love allows him to rejoice. The names he calls her are related to the way he views her, young and innocent. Angel points out that Tess does not need his permission to write her own mother a letter. Since Angel feels that he knows more than Tess, she is like a child in comparison. "I must write my mother," she said. "You don't mind my doing that?" "Of course not, dear child. You are a child to me, Tess, not to know how very proper it is to write your mother at such a time, and how wrong it would be in my to object. Where does she live?" "At the same place, Marlotte, in the further side of the Blackmore Vale." Angel assumes that Tess is pure. However, what she looks like on the outside is different than who she is on the inside. Her dark figure represents who she appears to be. She looks different when she stands in the light. The light of the engine flashed for a second upon Tess Durbeyfield's figure, motionless under the great holly tree. The light provided from the lamp was more important than the light of the stars. This is an example of how one thing can appear more important than it is usually considered to be. They reached the feeble light which came from the smoky lamp of a little railway station, a poor enough terrestrial star, yet in one sense of more importance to the Talbothy's dairy and mankind than the celestial ones to which they stood in humiliating contrast. Over time, the importance or strength of an event, or in this case the milk, decreases. That way it has less of an impact. Londoners will drink it at their breakfast tomorrow, won't they? Strange people we have never seen? Yes, I suppose they will, though not as we send it, when its strength has been lowered so that it may not get up into their heads.